What's the most amount of money you've ever made in a year?
Oh, 1 year just hit 100 million.
100 million. Excuse me, sir. Have you ever built a business in Japan before?
Oh, hello, strange man in a leather jacket that's asking me personal questions. I'm happy to tell you everything about me. Sorry, what was the question again?
We're going to ask him some questions. And today I'm here with.
My name's Nate. I'm the CEO and founder of Humble Bunny. We do performance marketing for global businesses entering the Japanese market.
And what made you decide to start a business here in Japan?
I did not decide to start a business in Japan. I started doing what my passion was on the nights and weekends, which was graphic design. And that just turned into a business. Like the contacts became bigger, the clients became bigger, projects became bigger, the needs became bigger. And then at one point along the line, I needed to hire a developer. I hired a full-time member, and then at some point I just kind of accidentally started a business, and
Interesting.
and here I am loving it.
Not a lot of people have that type of story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
It was a bit serendipitous. It just kind of flowed. It just happened. It was natural. So,
What were you doing in Japan before you started your business?
I did the normal thing that a lot of people do. I was teaching English. I knew I wanted to get out here. I knew I was in love with the culture. So I came out, I taught English. I had graphic design in my heart. I knew I wanted to do something with that. And then, after a couple of years, started it freelance, and then again, turned up into a business, right?
So why did you decide to start a business in Japan instead of working at a graphic design company here?
Well, I think I'm a more natural fit to be running a business than to actually be doing the design. And so when you're running freelance, you're doing everything, right? Like you're looking at the numbers, you're doing the sales, you're figuring out how to meet people, you're pitching ideas. And I was actually really enjoying that process and enjoying the design. But after a while, when I got people to start helping me with it, I started realizing like, oh, I'm actually really liking the coordination and the vision side of this. And so the company became more of a performance marketing business over time. So my career of being a designer actually just kind of dissolved along the way.
Interesting.
And I was the CEO of a business. And so at some point that I can't pinpoint, it was just, oh, I'm a CEO now. It's my own thing. Just keep going.
What are the biggest misconceptions that foreigners have about starting a business here in Japan?
I don't think it's that hard to do. I think everyone starts off like as a freelancer or something of that nature. They can go and do like their white or their blue taxes. That's how it starts. Eventually, if you're running a business and it's growing, you'll make enough money to hire an accountant. If you speak a little bit of Japanese, you can use a Japanese accountant for a much lower cost than the bilingual ones. And setting up a business as well is really cheap. Even some of the bilingual companies that do it, they do it for a moderate amount. So I think if you're doing it all yourself, it's a bit of a time suck to really like understand how to do it and all this stuff, but that's fun. I mean, I think people who are building their own businesses, they're fundamentally scrappy people, right? So for me, that's how I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of it by myself. And I liked that. It was like cool to learn the systems and know how it's done, But then after a while, you're making enough money. It's like, okay, I got to put my energy somewhere else, right? So
to grow the business.
but I don't think it's that hard. I don't think, like get a hanko, that's kind of a weird thing, right? But like get a hanko. If you have money and you can speak Japanese, pay some cheap, accountants or whatever to do it for you. But until then, just take the necessary little steps until you can get to that level.
What are the necessary little steps?
Well, when you're first making money, like I don't know about other companies, but my revenue in year one was 27,000 yen, not dollars. 27,000 yen, $160 or so for you Americans, right?
Wow.
Like I had like one project or two projects, right? That's like, and then the next year was like, a couple $1,000s, right? It was just small, it was tiny, and when you're at that size, like you just got to do everything yourself. You're like, oh, wait, I have a salary from my English gig and I'm making a little money on the side. Oh, my employer won't fill that form out for me anymore. I better figure out how to do it. Oh, I got to get there by March 15th or whatever it is, right? You just do it yourself. You just do what you got to do, you know, and you get through that. And then you're like, oh, I'm a business. I need to kind of register it because I just found out that I can get like an extra deduction if I register my business, even as a sole proprietor. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go do that. So I'm like, where do I do that? Oh, the tax office. So it's just these little things along the way. You just do it.
Sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do to keep your thing going, right?
Got it.
Got it. Yeah, and then you start paying other people when you can.
A lot of people want to start a business in Japan, but they don't know what type of business to start. What advice would you give them?
It's hard because I'm a little bit of an unconventional path, right? Because I started as a graphic designer thinking I wanted to do graphic design, and then my path shifted along the way into running the business fundamentally. So if you would have asked me at my early stage, I would have been like, oh, I'm going to start a graphic design business. But that all shifted. So I think like passion for a lot of people tends to get anchored into some category of thing that you like, right? Like I'm passionate about design, or I'm passionate about anime, or I'm passionate about something. But I think what's really interesting is that you can be passionate about many different subject matters, but it's more about the occupation inside of that passion where I think a lot of people will find themselves. So I'm more likely to kind of share experience as opposed to give advice.
Okay.
But in my situation, it was all about identifying the passionate area I like to work, not necessarily the subject matter of the business itself.
Interesting.
Right? So I am really passionate about marketing, but that's another thing that you hear about is like when you evolve your experience and your learnings inside of a specific subject matter and you get good at it, the passion evolves out of that. The passion for the subject matter, right? So I think like people don't spend enough time really thinking about what occupation they're passionate about, but that could be an interesting twist to how you start your business.
Interesting.
What kind of occupation or type of work do I like? And then just let that like ebb and flow you into the direction of the subject matter itself that you're starting your business in.
And to conclude, what's the most amount of money you've ever made in a year?
Oh, 1 year just hit 100 million
100 million.
yen.
That's yen, people. 100 million yen.
Yeah. That's a big milestone though, right? And it took me 15 years to get there.
Wow.
Which is slow. That's really slow. Like as a business owner, right? So I think I think so many people are like hustle, get it going. I got to hit my numbers, you know what I mean? But like it's all about the path along the way, you know, like lots of this along the way.
Got it.
So it's always been like an upward, you know, you plot that middle path, it's always been upward momentum, but yeah. I think
You said it was slow. Why do you say it's slow?
I think 15 years. So my first year, 27,000 yen, 160 bucks, right? That was in 2007, right? And that's the number that we hit in 2022. So yeah, oh, I'm sorry, 2009 was when we started. Just me as a graphic designer. And then 2022 was the year we hit 100 million Japanese yen. So that was, 13 years.
Wow.
And yeah, I think that's slow, right? But from 27,000 to 100 million, that's
awesome.
That's fun, right? That's fun.
Awesome.
It's really interesting, like the relationship you have with money along the way, you know? Like that first 27,000 hits the bank account and you're like, I've done it, you know, I made it, you know? And then like
You're probably stoked.
and you're super stoked, right? And then like 3 years later, you know, it's like you desensitized to the numbers, which is really sad. It's actually really sad. Like,
You think so?
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, there's something like innocent and sweet and nice about like being excited about like 200 bucks hitting your bank account, right? But then you get to a point where it's like you look at the bank account and like $20,000 hits your account, and you're like, okay, they've got the payment, cool. Check the box. Like, it's sad, right? It's kind of like you want to feel that joy, that flutter, every single time, right? So,
How did you feel when you got 100 million yen?
yeah, I mean, it's a milestone. I'm like, I did it. I got it. We got to the level, you know. I applied for an organization that I wanted to get into, you know, and because that was the line. Like, you have to have that amount right to get in, and
Okay.
so it was just like, yeah, yeah. Let's do 1 billion next, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.